Hello, welcome back to Blender Sushi Live Noding. In this episode, we're gonna talk about the extrude separate polygons. And if you notice, there are actually two nodes dealing with extrude separate faces. So this one and this one right here, they seems like a similar thing, but they're actually totally different nodes. And the one that I haven't used much is this one right here, Extrude Separate Faces LITE. This one has this matrix options or matrix, like for matrix transformations. Don't be afraid of this, but sometimes when you're using the matrix and it's blue color, it's kind of intimidating a little bit. So anyhow, let's save this. So extrude face separate LITE. So you might see that the LITE option is actually can be a lot more powerful sometimes. So let's try by using the new nodes. I like the polygon grid, so this is kind of fancy to use. So if we plug this to this guy, it's kind of vertices to vertices, polygon to polygon. So vertices and polygon, and it will kind of doing what you like. Okay, that thing is definitely kind of flip the way it works, and you can scale it, so that's cool. Turn on the shading, so we are upside down, but it's okay. And there is option like mask, edges, but with some nodes in SphereChalk you can use a random number. And I believe if I plug this into the height, it's gonna be doing some kind of randomization. Okay, so yeah, seems to work, and you just need to provide the correct number of the size. So yeah, that's pretty much how it works. The scale also you can randomize 0.1, 0.5, yeah, something like this. Maybe a little bit smaller even. This one can be, yeah. So this you can easily bake and you get a result, right? File, save as. So that's useful. This one with the matrix seems like it says LITE. Seems like simpler, but let's see how it works. Oh, actually, don't use the same thing. Let's use a triangle for this one. With this guy, let's put it to the side. Just the y-axis. Okay. So this is the previous result. Second result, we're gonna use different color, and this is the vertices and polygon, vertices, polygon. Now it's not working yet because we need to have the matrix. So turn on that guy. We have the matrix. Okay, now let's see if we can kind of extrude it somehow. Okay, so the scaling seems to work. So we can scale in 3 different axes. The Z doesn't work too much. I mean, the Z doesn't matter too much, but the X and the Y kind of working. And there is this position that seems to be pushing it. You can push it in the X and Y, and this one is actually pushing it in the Z axis. So that can be really handy. The Z, this one, the Z is actually the normal. If you don't know what I'm talking about, instead of using polygon grid, let's use icosphere. So now let's check it out. I keep putting the vertices and faces. I think the mask, I believe things like vertices, edges, faces need to be a different color, and the mask also different, and yeah, center also should be different. But it's kind of representing the same data, so in this case it's kind of okay. Anyhow, so let's get back to this. So if we use 111, it's kind of pushing it in the weird fashion, but if you zero that out, pushing it in the Z, actually kind of pushing it in normal, and you can then randomize the X and the Y a little bit if you want. So that's what I mean by it's really handy for that reason. So that's pushing it in the Z axis. That means if we are using like a lot of number in the Z, like using random number in the Z axis, we can randomize that. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool because let's say you started with a icosphere, right? You bake it out. What do you get? It's an icosphere. It's the same object. You bake it out. You get this guy. If you use this join as shapes, oops, need to have equal number of vertices. Okay, it's not the original, but the one that's already subdivided. So that's a mistake. Sorry about that. So you need to have extrude separate, but you just do nothing with the extrusion. So I'll show you really quick. So 0 default of everything, bake it out. So this is the original. This is the one you extrude. Join as shapes. Now this guy shape key you can extrude. So that's kind of nice, because if you randomize the seed and then you bake this guy and randomize it again, bake it again, so we have a couple of shapes. And the original. So 1, 2, 3, join as shapes. So we have 3 shapes now. 1, 2, 3. And with the shape keys also, I often forget how to get to shape key. Oh, okay. This option is kind of hidden if you didn't move. Okay. Turn off relative. Now you can just scrub and you have these effects. Kind of like a virus, kind of like a cold virus that I've been having for over a week. So yeah, so there you go. That's really the basic of extrude separate faces LITE and how you can use transform. In this case, the XYZ represents the normal. There's things like rotations and scaling. That's also very useful in a way. You can control that, of course, the size, make it sharp. That's kind of interesting, like a star. But yeah, that's the idea. That way you can generate something like this rather easily. So that's really one applications. Really, like the most basic thing is, of course, is just extruding it up. But because you're using it in a kind of Sverchok nodes, kind of with a Sverchok environment, if you have multiple values coming into the nodes, it's gonna work in a way that you can control a lot of values at the same time. If you imagine like a spreadsheet and then you have a lot of values as input, you get the output right away. Alright, so yep, I guess that's pretty much it. Let's move this also to the side. So that's the original icosphere. This is the result. Maybe I should put it in different side. Okay, so extrude separate faces LITE and extrude separate faces, same but different, and different kind of applications. This one seems to be simpler. Maybe this should be extrude separate LITE, but anyway, this one extrude separate faces. This one is more powerful. Maybe we call it max. Alright, thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Bye.